Hey again, and welcome to another theory video where we will be tackling one of the hardest hitting questions in all of anime, maybe even the world. It's a question that has been widely debated and talked about, but I will try and make it as clear as possible and make sure that the right answer is found. I'm sure everyone has seen 7 Deadly Sins by now. If you haven't, this video will have minor spoilers in it, but that's just what's necessary to get to the bottom of this. You have been warned. Today, after this video, you will find out one of the craziest secrets yet to be told throughout the 7 Deadly Sins series. If you're thinking it has to do with who the strongest sin is, then think bigger. If you're now wondering if it has to do with the truth about the demon versus angel war, then stop thinking about that, because we're talking big here, real big. Topic today is how massive, how enormous, how girthy, and just how heavy Meliodas is. The sin of wrath, the symbol of the dragon, the main protagonist himself. Today, we will be discovering how large Meliodas' penis is. Let's just start with the basic stats about Meliodas and what we know about him to get a solid base. So, we know that he's been alive for over 3,000 years. He has definitely had time to hit puberty, but at the same time, when we look at his height, he's listed at 152 inches, which is around 5 feet tall. But we do know that if we look at people throughout history, we can come to the conclusion that having lived for a long time or having a lot of power does not mean that your penis will be equal to that power. Look at Adolf Hitler for an example. He's one of the most infamous names of all time for his nefarious acts of evil. He's someone who had a bountiful supply of power at his fingertips, but it is also widely known that he had a micro penis and was clearly compensating his lack of penis flesh by killing the Jewish people. So just because Meliodas is someone of a small stature does not mean his dick is like that. For all we know, he could be packing a fire hydrant down there, so this does require further analysis. To get a better understanding of Meliodas' crotch, we can look at how other characters in the show view him. There is no better example than Diane, the sin of envy, and probably the only woman that you can call big without her getting offended. It's very obvious that she holds a strong affection towards Meliodas, which begs the question as to why. You could just say it's because he's so strong and powerful, but I don't think Diane is that simple of woman to be obsessed over someone because of their ability to kill people. So she likes his childlike attitude? That's not true either, as she always seems to hate it when Meliodas is perving on Elizabeth and can't stand him being a molester either. It has to be something that she sees that we don't. Diane definitely knows why Meliodas is known as the symbol of the dragon. It's probably because that's what his penis resembles and is the reason why she likes him. I mean, just looking back at whenever Diane is staring at Meliodas and blushing, her eyes are always looking down at him. I mean, if that's not a clear sign that Meliodas is packing, then I don't know what it is. If we're going to be honest about Meliodas, apart from his massive cock, he isn't really good boyfriend material. So it makes sense as to why Diane eventually confessed to King instead. This proves that you don't need to have a wild dong to get chicks. You just need to have a floating beanbag. If we have a look at Meliodas' appearance and what other clothes he wears, it makes you wonder where he's hiding his snake, but it actually makes sense once you take the time to think about it. You see, his outfit is quite an anomaly in and of itself. His top and bottom both seem to be pretty baggy and don't look like they fit quite tightly to him. However, if that were the case, then it would be very possible to hide his genitalia, as he would just be able to say it's one of the pockets of air occupying a small space of his fabric. But that is not the case, as his bottoms seem to only end at his knees, with what looks like cuffs formed around the area. This tells us that Meliodas has pulled up his pants to make his bottom part look more like shorts, which negates the bagginess around his crotch area. Basically, what I'm trying to say is the bagginess of his pants can now not be used as an excuse to hide his penis. So where is it hidden then? Well, that explains the second part of Meliodas' outfit, his black vest. The design of this vest is quite peculiar. I'm sure you can attest to this as well. I have never seen a vest quite like this. The front part of the vest is pretty normal and standard. Two sides of the vest come around his body and connect to form the full vest. The weird part though is the back part of his vest. Where a normal vest would stop at his waist and complete the top portion of his outfit, there seems to be this random triangular part of the vest that overlaps his waist and decides to cover his butt. You're telling me that this doesn't seem suspicious to you at all? There is no reason for Meliodas' vest to be like that, but yet it is. This must have been specially designed and created for Meliodas to accommodate his abnormal dong and hide it. My thesis on how Meliodas has hidden this beast is using what I like to call the twist pot method. You see, Meliodas has twisted and coiled his genitalia, much like how a stereotypical turd looks. Or think of a swirl of ice cream coming down onto a cone. He's managed to coil and coil until he has made his penis look like the squiggly part of a corkscrew. It doesn't end there though, as that alone would not be able to hold his spongy flesh in place. This is now where the pop part comes into play. What Meliodas does now is place the tip of his penis, otherwise known as the glans, into his rectum. I call this the pop as it would be quite difficult to initially place your apparatus into your anus, and when successful, a pop sound should be the result of this. I suspect that over the years of popping his cock in and out of his ass, that it would be more like a slip and slide now for Meliodas. The reason behind the vest at the back covering his pants makes complete sense now that this has come to light. Without it, you would be able to clearly see this block of flesh sticking out of his pants and would look like some kind of large pleasure toy sticking out of his ass. But with the triangular bit, it would completely block out that vision and all attention would divert completely from his buttocks. We've gone seasons ignoring this piece of fabric design, and it makes sense too, as Meliodas is ashamed of his cock. So much so that he decided to be the strongest person in the world and design his clothes in a way to hide his penis. If Meliodas has taught us one thing, it's that we all have something to hide and are ashamed of, and that's okay. But on the other hand, he has also proved to be the opposite as well. You don't need to be fully embarrassed or feel the need to hide things. Try and embrace your imperfections and put your full self on display to the world. Unless you killed someone or something, but other than that, the world will accept you and treat you the same regardless. Thanks for watching the video, and I hope you always hold 7 deadly sins in your hearts forever, and that it never disappears.